Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. If you haven't as yet, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I was really excited about this bunch of banana the other day, and I rested outside my house to get ripe. And I got back the other morning and I noticed a bite on one of the bananas. I wasn't sure what did it, but I highly suspect it was a rat. So I put the trail camera on it to see what was there. And as I expected, I saw the rats having a feast. I could no longer use this banana for myself, so I left it out there to the mercy of the animals. Although it started with the rats, as morning came along, the birds came and have a feast. I give you a quick look at some of the bird species here that was feeding on the bananas. But if you want to see the full bird video, you can check it out on the 3KC birding channel. I'll put a link in the bio. This encounter with the rats led me to talk about leptospirosis. If you look at the vaccination video that I had recently on the channel, you would have heard me mention the leptospirosis vaccine in some of those regionally specific core vaccines. Leptospirosis in Grenada and most countries is usually transmitted by a vector, which most times are rodents like rats and mice. However, it can be transmitted by other mammals as well. um, Leptospirosis is a bacteria, but you can vaccinate against it. It's highly infectious and it's zoonotic, which means it can be transmitted between humans as well as animals. It's also multi-species. It's infectious, many species. So cattle can have it, sheep and goat, dogs can get it. Although I don't think cats could get it. But yeah, so rats are usually the vector for leptospirosis because they carry the infection. They don't normally have the effect of the disease. Leptospirosis is clinical signs of leptospirosis in a sick dog. Normally would be vomiting, they're off food, a bit lethargic, and then they start changing color. Usually tell the client if the dog is already green, there's not much I could do here. Um, Although it's in the urine, it really affects the liver, and then the animal, most times a dog, starts getting jaundice, and you know the jaundice leaves with a yellowish greenish color on the skin. So let's talk about leptospirosis and what you could do to prevent it. If we're going to talk about leptospirosis in humans, it's usually a disease that can affect little children, and I'll tell you why. Now, everyone could be, as long as you're exposed to it, you're at risk of getting infection, yes, but it's usually a disease that affects little children and men who live alone. The reason being, most times little children would pick a fruit up off the ground and bite into it, pick up a piece of bread or something, a piece of food. And even if there is a bite on it, the kid will still eat the piece of food. And rats and mice, I don't know if you know how their eating habits are, but when they eat, they normally urinate exactly where they eat. Sometimes when they walk over things, as you can see in this video, the rat would walk over all the bananas at some point, even though he was only eating one or two, and then they drop urine on this. So if a kid comes along, takes one of these bananas, there's already rat urine on it. The rat is infected with has a leptospirosis in its urine. The kid eats the banana. Of course, nobody washes or cooks a banana. Kids get a leptospirosis infection. You don't realize what's happening until it's almost too late. It's normally and unfortunately, leptospirosis in humans is usually diagnosed in the postmortem. It's a really beautiful bacteria to look at under the microscope. It's from the spirochete family, so it looks like this spiral bacteria. It's a special stain you use to stain it, and it looks so beautiful, but it's really deadly. The reason again why men who live alone, most men who live alone would put something down there. They know they're the only person in the house. They put some food down, maybe bread or something. They pick it up the next day, they eat it, they never pay attention to it, and then a rat or a mice would have visited this food overnight, and boom, you will get exposed to leptospirosis. So it can be fatal. There's lots of people who have died from leptospirosis. However, it can also be treated. So there is treatment. Early treatment is better, of course, but if you couldn't get early treatment and you get late treatment, the chances of you surviving is great. Unlike some other things we vaccinate against in animal like rabies and other stuff, who is 100% fatal. Now, let's talk about how do you prevent leptospirosis infection in your animals. Now, there's a lot of serovars of leptospirosis. Serovars will be different types of the bacteria. So maybe like 250 serovars. Most of the common vaccine do for the top eight. I know in In dogs, you'd have what you call canalicular, interhemorrhagic, gryphosa, and pamona. They normally do the most common two or the most common four serovas for dogs. So you have a L2 vaccine or a L4 vaccine. For cattle, you might have Leptospirosis bovis, I think Hajo or Hajo bovis, a couple other different things there. So different species may have different vaccine. You could vaccinate cattle. I think you could vaccinate most livestock against leptospirosis. You could definitely vaccinate companion animal like dogs. Leptospirosis is not an issue with cats. So another way to prevent, if your animal is too young to be vaccinated, or you just want to prevent exposure to leptospirosis, when you have young puppies especially, you do not leave food out overnight. That is very important. If you're feeding in the morning, you're going to wash your kennels down if they're in kennels or the housing. If they just have their bowls on the ground, you're going to wash the bowls really well, and then you're going to make sure everything is clean and you do not leave food out overnight. The number one reason I meet leptospirosis cases when I'm on my practice is because someone had a young pup, it wasn't finished or fully vaccinated, or some of them was not even vaccinated at all. They left food overnight in the house. They did not want to eat the food because they suspect it was contaminated. They give it to the dog. The dog got exposed to leptospirosis. Sometimes we can save it. Um, a young puppy has not yet been vaccinated or is only on vaccinations protocol. Food was left out overnight. The rat came in the night. Boom, contaminated the food. The pup ate the food. Now the pup is exposed to leptospirosis. Now, this is where I want you to think. There was an old thing on the TV the other day that said, your neighbor's rats are your rat. If you live in a place where, of course, all rats have been eradicated, then you may not have to worry about these diseases unless there's another mammal around that's the vector for leptospirosis. The other thing you need to know, if you're exposed to an animal who's infected with leptospirosis, it can also transmit the infection. So if you're dealing with a dog, it might just be urinating funny, it's vomiting, it doesn't have diarrhea, it's off food, not vaccinated, you suspect leptospirosis, I would advise you seek veterinary help instantly. You're going to wash your hands every time. Wash your hands when you come in contact with that animal or its urine. Wash your hands before you eat, which you should normally do if you deal with animals anyway. But yes, early treatment can help, but vaccination is definitely the best way to prevent leptospirosis. And also, if your fruits got contaminated, no need to throw it in the trash. Put it out to feed the birds as I did. Just look at the beautiful birds. Enjoy the rest of the video here. Check it out. Remember, if you like seeing this and you want to see what we actually caught on the camera trap on the entire bunch of banana for a whole 24 hours, it's not a 24-hour video, but what we caught was recorded. Check out the video link below for the 3KC boarding channel. There's also a link on the top of this video to the exact video itself. It's really cool. You can see a lot of my locally ad species. Some of the birds that I've banded you can see in this video as well. If you look closely on the right leg, you may see a small tag. Clearly, this does not bother them. They're enjoying them free meal. But yes, hopefully you like this video. Hit the like button. Leave a comment if you heard of leptospirosis before, or if you have any questions. If you haven't heard of leptospirosis as well, leave a comment. We can talk so much more about it. Yep. Hopefully you enjoy this one. See you next time. Yep, so the buds had a feast all day, but later that night, the rats came back again, and they had a feast. That banana definitely went into good use. I left it out for a couple days, but I took the camera off and I let them to finish it off. Have a good one.